Welcome to The Explainer. So, let's just dive right into this massive paradox in the world of high-level management. Have you ever noticed that the strategies guaranteeing your survival this quarter are usually the exact same ones that guarantee you'll be completely irrelevant in a decade? It's crazy, right? Today we're unpacking the structural difference between operators who just plateau and the ones who fundamentally reshape their industries. It requires this really counterintuitive shift. A lot of times, prioritizing long-term vision means deliberately absorbing short-term friction. You're effectively choosing to look like you're moving slow while everyone else is just sprinting around you. We're going to tear down the architecture of visionary thinking to understand how optimizing for that distant horizon literally changes the chemistry of your daily decisions.
So did you know most legendary leaders actually plan years ahead? And we're not just talking about casually sketching out next quarter's objectives over a coffee. We are talking about mapping out a 5, sometimes even a 10-year trajectory. Now, human psychology actually fights us on this. We're wired for this thing called hyperbolic discounting. It's a cognitive bias where we heavily prefer smaller, immediate rewards over much larger, delayed ones. Add in the modern pressure of quarterly earnings reports or monthly metrics, and man, the default setting for almost everyone is just acute short-termism. We get totally addicted to that dopamine hit of ticking off immediate tasks and clearing out the inbox. But breaking free from that cognitive trap, that is the entry fee for doing work that actually matters on a macro scale.
Because of that, we constantly face a structural choice in how we allocate our mental bandwidth. We can live in a state of constant reaction, playing the role of the firefighter. It's frantic, it's exhausting. You're perpetually rushing to meet some Friday cutoff just to maintain the status quo. And the trap is that putting out fires feels highly productive in the moment. But the heat of that fire totally blinds us to the bigger picture. Alternatively, we can adopt the mindset of an architect. This means stepping back and deliberately constructing the reality of tomorrow. An architect doesn't panic over an overflowing inbox. They focus on pouring the concrete for a foundation that's going to hold up a skyscraper. It's a profound shift from managing endless crises to designing systems that prevent those crises from ever existing in the first place.
Vision builds empires. Now, in a modern organizational context, an empire isn't about sheer size or ruthless conquering. It is all about structural success and compounding returns. Just think about the difference between scrambling to fill a single job vacancy by Friday versus spending a year building an organizational culture that automatically attracts the top 1% of talent. The first one solves a Tuesday problem. The second one builds an empire. True empires are ecosystems of resilient infrastructure, deeply rooted brand equity, and institutional knowledge that withstands any market volatility. Those short-term wins evaporate the exact moment the market shifts. Vision, on the other hand, creates this localized gravity that pulls the rest of the industry right into your orbit.
And here's the thing, every big breakthrough starts by seeing way beyond today's trends. Innovation isn't about catching the current wave. It's about seeing where the whole ocean is actually moving. If your strategy relies on pivoting your entire department to whatever buzzword was trending on LinkedIn yesterday, you aren't leading. You're really just participating in the noise. Breakthroughs require tuning out that immediate static. It involves analyzing the underlying shifts in human behavior, tech, or macroeconomics to anticipate where the friction is going to be 3 years from now, long before it becomes obvious to everyone else. The ultimate strategic goal is to already be standing quietly at the destination by the time everyone else finally figures out how to read the map.
When you actually start operating on this elongated timeline, a really fascinating psychological domino effect takes over your team. Step 1. Because you're no longer making decisions from a place of immediate panic, your choices become inherently smarter and way more strategic. And then step 2, your team instantly senses that lack of panic. They feel the stability of a leader who isn't being jerked around by the crisis of the day, and that perceived stability breeds deep, unshakable trust. People will literally walk through fire for a leader who clearly knows the coordinates of the destination. Which brings us to step 3. Ultimately, that trust becomes the actual mortar used to create a lasting legacy. It transforms a group of stressed-out employees into a highly aligned execution machine.
But we have to remember, real impact takes time. This is a concept that is intellectually so easy to accept, but emotionally grueling to execute. When you commit to a long-term strategy, you inevitably enter what is known as the valley of disappointment. That brutal stretch of time where you are putting in massive amounts of work, yet the compounding results just haven't materialized yet. It's the agonizing friction of a high-speed corporate environment constantly demanding to know, what have you done for me lately? Surviving that valley requires absolutely incredible conviction. You have to be willing to be misunderstood for long periods of time. You really have to resist the urge to pull the plant out by the roots just to see if it's growing.
So tomorrow morning, before you reply to a single message, before you open a single spreadsheet or sit down for your first meeting, I want you to ask yourself, are you making decisions for next week or the next decade?
Are you just surviving the week, or are you actually building your decade? The choice is entirely yours. Keep thinking long-term, keep building out that vision. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and we will catch you next time.